Hello, I'm Cindy Ehrenberg-Seltzer, President and CEO of the Children's Services Council of Broward County. Welcome to another edition of Future First, Focus on Broward's Children. Extended families have always been an integral part of the successful rearing of children. In most cultures, grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, and close family friends are that inner circle of nurturing that helps children grow into safe, happy, and healthy adults. Sometimes these relatives become primary caregivers, specifically when a child's parent is not present for a host of reasons, such as being physically or emotionally unable, drug addicted, incarcerated, or even deceased. In these situations, it's often grandparents and other relatives who step up to raise the children. There are thousands of such arrangements in Broward County. In many cases, the children have been formally adopted. In some cases, the arrangements are more informal. Since 2005, the CSC has funded kinship programs that have helped many children stay in those familiar environments without having to be removed into the dependency system. Here with me to talk about the benefits of kinship programs are Myriam Campo-Goldman, the founder and CEO of Harmony Development Center, Walter Honaman, supervising attorney with Legal Aid Service of Broward County, Francois, a caseworker with the Mental Health Association, and Cindy Souve, who is benefiting from kinship services as an adoptive mom and grandmother. Welcome to all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Cindy. Cindy, because you have the best name, I'm going to start with you.
Why, thank you.
Also because you really are the epitome of what we're talking about here. Can you tell the viewers what this is like as a grandmother? Tell them your story, please.
Oh, I'm sure it's like many others, but yet not. I have 3 grandchildren. They came to me at 3 different times. The first one was 2 months old, and of course, my daughter wasn't the best character of the world, living on the streets, doing a little bit of drugs, a little bit of this. So I ended up taking Dominic, which was 2 months old at the time, and trying to make life work. At the time, I had high schoolers. I have other children too, trying to get them to graduate. After about a year of trying to struggle that way, I ended up moving in with my mother down here in Broward County. Didn't take long, 18 months from when I got one to another child. Port St. Lucie called, asked me to take Natalia, and Natalia was 18 months. That would be my second grandchild. Then took them privately with an attorney, worked to adopt them, and she had a third child. My third one was left in the hospital. I had to go and claim the third one. Back to my mom's again. Of course, now I have 3 little children, not married, and no work. Moved out of my district. I have no friends, no social. Really kind of lost. So when school started, my kindergarten went to school, and her teacher happened to roll over from kindergarten to 1st grade, and the Mental Health Association handed out these flyers to the school. And the teacher made sure that my child got one, and I brought it home to me. And I happened to read it, and I picked up the phone and I called. I proceeded to let them know that it's different. I had already adopted. I was a grandmother. I have 3 little ones in an area that I'm unfamiliar with. Didn't know what they could help me with, what they had to offer, or even if I was a good candidate for them. Kind of was weird to get a reaction of that our doors are open, we're here for you, and there's something here for you, and that we could help. So I ventured that way. That association did an awful lot for me. My 3 grandchildren jump when they hear there's an event. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Because that's their children. That's people for them to play with. I'm a grandmother. My youngest is 23, and now I'm doing little kids again. So how are you going to get your neighbor down the street or your friend or brownies? You're not quite in that age group anymore to do that. Plus, now you're a single mom. Now all you can think about is, how am I going to work? Where's the money going to come from? Where's the clothes coming from? The shoes, the support, cars, gas. I mean, all the things that everybody else goes through. So mental health backed me up got me into a group of other kinship, other aunts, uncles, grandmothers, brothers that are doing the same as what I am doing, and we meet and we tell our stories.
And you know, that's exactly what got us into this back in 2005. We had heard through the school system about all of these grandparents, aunts, and uncles that were suddenly becoming parents again. And when we did focus groups and asked, what do you need most? That support was one of the things that we heard over and over and over again. And so mental health, while CSC has been funding these programs since 2005, Mental Health Association just came in the last time we did the RFP. But we're so glad that you did. I know Cindy is.
This isn't just about the parent. When you know, and my own sanity, it's about the children because they need social, they need activities, they need to see other children that these things happen to as well, and it's okay. And the more that you can smile and say, give me a hug, it's okay, we'll get through this, the better it can be. But you can't do it alone. No. Because if your neighbor isn't smiling and whining, how can you smile and whine? I mean, you have to have the smile to look back at you. If you're going to smile, you need to smile back at you. Otherwise, your smiles don't go anywhere, do they?
And that's what is so important, the coordination of the services, Cindy. Because before you didn't have that coordination of services and the support that you have today. But through Children's Services Council and the other agencies, we are able to provide that support. Financial, shelter, education, help in education to improve grades and attendance to school, and also help the children with recreation. Like she says, it's very difficult for a grandparent to come back and have the energy to start jumping again when the child is needed that energy and you are not there anymore. So all the services and that recreation that we provide is very important for the well-being and the healthy development of the children that you are taking care. And this is a perfect example of what is our kinship families in Broward County. And thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, and I want you to point out, Myriam, so Harmony Development is also one of the providers. You've been doing this for about 5 years now.
Yes.
And you've carved out a couple of niches that I think it would be important for our viewers to understand in case they find themselves in the same situation.
Well, we serve the same situation for the grandparents, but we have a lot of Hispanics that they come and they are already in the country, and they then become a grandparents raising the children, but also uncles and aunts because they are coming and they are here and they support the other ones who needed to be taken care for them. But also is serving some of the children that we have, some of them coming from the same reason. The parents are in drug addiction and they cannot take care of the children. And others come because they are alone in this country and the families or relatives serve them and be with them and protect them and work with them. And we have the support of Legal Aid to be able to provide all of those legal services that are so much needed for those relatives to be able to become the legal parent or the adopted parent that is the need for them to really be able to go to school, to attend all the services that Broward County provides.
Yeah, so in addition to all the emotional needs that we're looking for both of you, and I'm going to get you back in here, Ben, to talk about the Mental Health Association, but there also are a lot of legal aspects to this. Cindy was fortunate to have already done the adoption at the time, but if not, well, there still may be legal issues that come up with IEPs, et cetera. But Walter, talk about what that looks like.
Well, that's right, Cindy. When grandparents or aunts and uncles or kin caregivers get their children, they still need some sort of legal documentation or authority that allows them to go to school, enroll their kids in school, get ESE services, also medical care, the care that you get to your pediatrician and or mental health care for their children that they're in charge of. They have to have some sort of legal underpinning. So we provide, as part of a partnership with the service providers, we secure the legal relationship. It could be a temporary custody of temporary custody of minor child by extended family, or it could be an adoption that allows the grandparents, in this case Cindy, it allows you to go to the school, to the doctors on behalf of those children, and we help stabilize that. We also are able to work with Myriam and Harmony and some of the children who are in the United States who also, on top of school enrollment, medical care access, need immigration services to adjust so that they're here lawfully in the United States. We're able to provide those services. That's critical. That legal relationship, that legal foundation is critical to helping really stabilize the parents. Sadly, on the back end, one of the things, and I say sad because some of our families do struggle with drugs, with mental health, and these legal orders also allow the grandparents, the aunts and uncles, the kin caregivers to protect the children from perhaps family members, might even be the parents, who come knocking on the door at 3 a.m. intoxicated, and we're able to provide them that protection.
Yes, and that is so valuable because without that, for example, as a normal or regular citizen, it's important to know that not because I'm a grandparent, I have the right to have my child or my daughter's child and take it to school, take it to the doctors, doing what it's supposed to be. And then you have a barrier because where is the legal representation? Right. And if you don't have it, it's nothing that you can do, even though you have your heart already broken for the situation, but also the need to cover for this kid that is on your care at this point. So I think that helped you a lot when you were able to find that coordination of services.
Correct.
Cynthia.
And Myriam's absolutely right, because our goal with mental health associations to assist the parents, we start with the family voices. And when we do the family voices and we start meeting with the other grandparents, we realize there's a deeper need. There's a deeper want for services of which majority of the time they don't know. With the help of my supervisor, Liz Myers, who's also a child educator, we realized that it was a need for the Kinship program. Most of the grandparents, they've been grandparents for so long that they don't know how to go back and redo or reteach a child how to do certain activities simply because time has changed. When it comes to technology itself, those kids are way ahead of the grandparents. You know, we have grandparents where their kids are the one that's looking at the emails that we're sending out, and the kids are telling them, remember this program and that program. But also, you have grandparents who have the services that's close by, but they have no idea that the services are close by. So, you know, with the help of Children's Services, we're able to be funded and put ourselves in the community to help these families. And I think it brings so much joy when you look in the face of a grandmother who says, I really didn't know what to do. I really didn't know what my next move would be. And to us, after a while, it's not a job. You know, it's coming in and assisting in the best way we can. When we have respites, grandparents come, and I know Cindy.
Cindy looks like she wants to jump in there.
Yeah. You know, I'm really listening to you, because when I came to your group, I had no idea what I needed except for help. I had no clue what help was, what direction help was going to be. All I knew was I just needed help. And it was your group who said, you need social, you need school, you need time, you need daycare, you are what structured me to get me moving. I wasn't just no longer sitting at home being, oh no, what am I going to do? 2 kids and 1 in school and can't move. All I did was say, I need help.
And I imagine, you know, you're not only having to deal with your grandchild, but you're also having to deal with your own response to your child, who has now left you, in this case, you know, 3 children back to back to back that she had. I'm sure that wasn't easy for you to process either.
No, it isn't. But you know, they all say, God can't give you any more than what you can handle. And as much as it does not sound very nice, the more you can smile, take a breath, think about what you're doing, it'll be okay. It's never what we want. It's never what we expect. And isn't life that way in general? It's never what we wanted. It's never what we expected. But it happened, and it was tough. But to be able to go to an association that can say, I got it, yes. Let's get some social for these kids because they need to meet people. Let's get, this. I can tell you that my two kindergarten and first grader, thanks to my group, are in cursive writing. They are reading. They are off the charts in their arts. We do art every other week. We do design. We're on the floor. We're on the table. We're outside. We're a group.
So it's so nice to see how the functionality of the family comes back again, and the integrity of that functioning is really helpful and healthy for the ones who you are taking care of.
Right.
Now imagine those immigrants that come with a lot of difficulties, and then it's a relative here that barely know the system. So it's helping not only because in your case, you were able to provide there, and you were able to even provide it in the same language. Here is even a barrier of what is the system? Right. How can I go to the system? Where could I understand the system? And that's why we provide that coordination again that I will know stressing us how important it is that we are able to provide that support from all aspects: mental health, case management, case coordination, health issues, primary care, food, clothing, education, because all of that is going to make our county and Broward a better place to live. Other than that, these kids will not have that support that is needed, and those grandparents equipped to be able to develop them with the help of the law to continue working with.
And you mentioned, Myriam, about equipping the grandparents.
Yes.
And really, that's what the system does. It helps equip grandparents to continue on and provide stability of a family-like life for the children. So school, whether you're an immigrant or a non-immigrant, schools have changed, enrollment policies, exceptional student education.
Right.
How do you get eligible for it? What is an IEP? How is an IEP developed? How is it implemented? And also healthcare. Grandparents don't realize that they need the legal authority to take their kid to their grandchild to, say, a grief counselor where the parent has died. They need that legal authority. So we can be part of a system which says, you know what, we're going to take care of our kids. We're going to take care of not just our extended kids, but all of our kids in Broward County and make it a better place.
And I think we have to acknowledge, too, we've talked a little bit about the very young child, but there's also teenagers that this is going, this may happen when the child is a teenager, and that creates some different stresses as well. You talked a little bit about technology. That really rears its ugly head when you get to those teenage years.
Yeah.
So how do you deal with that? What do you do for the older children? Either of you, actually.
In the case, with Mental Health Association, our goal is primarily understanding. The biggest problem is that the grandparents did not ask for this. This is something that just fell on their lap. So the minute that it falls on their lap, it's a lack of understanding, it's a sense of confusion. And sometimes they mean to do well, but the choices that they make because they care and love so much that ended up being the wrong moves that they make. So when you have a teenager who lost a parent and they don't know what to think, they're in the stage of being young adults and at the same time wanting to be kids, and you're dealing with the loss of a parent, so the choices that they make sometimes is out of this world. So our goal is to get them to understand. So we do different programs with them. First, to understand the situation that happens. You have to talk about it, you have to deal with it and understand the situation that you're in. Once we've covered that part, we start getting into different activities that makes them feel comfortable or accepted amongst their peers, because finger pointing is pretty big with kids, and we get them to understand and get to talk about it. Talking about it allows you to free yourself in one aspect. So therefore, you don't have to hide or have a facade that you're putting on. So then your friends are more understandable about the program and what you have to do. We had a program that we collaborated with, where the kids got to go for one summer, for part of the summer, down in was it Davie? Down in Davie, and it's a group of kids that lost their parents. And what they do is they have a week. It's called Camp Aaron, and they get to spend a weekend together. They get to talk about it. Parents get to come and visit, but the parents are not allowed. And the kids get to talk about their problems. They get to talk to each other, understand, well, your mom died at this age and my dad died at this age, and how hard it was. And one of the things that touched me, Liz, my supervisor, knows I'm the only one that doesn't cry. I'm the one that runs around with the tissues. But it was one part where they got to make a picture on a mosaic plate. They all made pictures, which the pictures were supposed to show how they felt inside. So whatever they drew on the plate was how they felt inside. So once they were done, they all threw the plates against the wall. And they all came back together and took different pieces of those to put it together to recreate. So the kids have a chance to have some of your pain, some of my pain, to create a sense of joy.
God, you gave me chills.
And that's our goal. That's our goal. And it definitely gave me the chills. I came close to crying. It definitely gave me the chills, but it's an aspect of the Children's Services, the Mental Health Association, to be able to provide those services. And my number one thing is it's understanding, helping them to understand.
And really, when a child feels good about themselves, then you got success. You got success. It's on its way. No ifs, ands, or buts. So,
Correct.
yeah, the first step is to make that child, it's okay what happened, and that's, make you feel a little better, and let's take the next step forward. And so, building their self-confidence up, like Ben says, because, yeah, finger pointing and knocking down is an easy thing, but to get them to stand up and feel okay.
And it's not their fault.
No,
Correct.
it's not.
And in fact, Ben, I think the Mental Health Association also has a special population that they're trying to reach out to in terms of incarcerated parents.
Correct.
And so I think that's important for our viewers. There may be people who are in that situation where they have a child who was incarcerated and now they're caring for those children, and they should know that the Mental Health Association is looking to support them.
Correct. We have some of our case managers also that go into the jail population. They do classes with those parents, and while doing those classes, they get certain information to find out, well, do you have a child? Who's taking care of your child? And what need does your child have? And they come back to the office, and we call, we do an intake, we get to meet those families and realize that the need that they have. Some of those kids, they haven't seen their parents. Can you imagine someone who was pregnant at the time, their wife or husband got incarcerated, and the child hasn't met their parents as of yet. So that ends up being a problem. So our goal is to go into the homes, go into the community, and assist them the best way that we can. But as a case manager, I think the beautiful thing for me at times is seeing the joy in the grandparents' faces. I think we had a special moment where we had a masseuse that came. So when we do our respite program, what we do is we have the kids in one area where we focus on this, specific activities, and the grandparents get to sit and have some time for themselves. And we had grandparents that were getting massages in between. And they came out, and the smile on their faces was incredible. We decided to do, as opposed to a half hour, we'll do an hour massage. And when we gave out the certificates, it was like a party in the room. But the beautiful thing about it is that these grandparents, sometimes they don't give themselves enough credit because it's a go. You're on the go.
I'm on the go.
You're on the go.
And you're exactly right. I don't take time out for me, and it's not. I'm not important. That's not where the stage is right now. Little ones are important. So yeah, those little things that they do for us parents and grandparents and kinships, yeah, it makes us feel really, really good. And then our guys come out as children. Oh, look, and they pat you on the back. You got time. That was all for you. How sweet. So yeah, it's really nice.
And it's a natural way for a grandparent. But imagine when is a parent of mother incarcerated, and then is an uncle. Is the only one there.
Yep.
An uncle has their own family, and he has then to go to look for a job and work and work and work. And a teenager came back into a home when he's 3, 4, and 5 years old. So that is stress and how you manage and how you provide that space for them to be able to relax and to understand the new role in their lives is very important. We have a lot of parks activities that we take them. We have a case that a child came to the States and was living with an uncle, but he got sick. The uncle needed to go to work, and he was by himself, 14, 16 years old. And he didn't have access even to medical because the same thing, there's no parent, there's no grandparent, it was an uncle. He was missing school a lot, and thank goodness was sent into Harmony, and we started immediately care of physically because he needed medical help. So we provided help, and then school attendance. He was already going to be taken into somewhere else in custody or something because he was not attending school. The uncle was trying to protect him, but was not equipped, like Walter says. So we were able to provide all of those services, and then now this uncle is adopting the nephew. So
What a
it's
great
beautiful
story.
ending. Yes.
Thank you, Myriam. What a great way to end this show. And sometimes these cases do end in adoption, but the point here is to keep a family together. Yes. These are informal situations. These are not the ones where DCF has come in for the most part and taken the child away. This is where grandparents, aunts, and uncles are stepping up for their family, and we want to keep them together. As you've heard, keeping them safe within their extended family as opposed to removing them and getting children stuck in the bureaucracy of the dependency system is the way that we really want to be able to support our families and achieve better outcomes for our children. I want to thank Myriam Campo-Goldman, Walter Honaman, Ben Francois, and Cindy Souve for taking their time out of their busy schedules to share information about the Kinship programs and about what it means to raise a Kinship child. I've been your host, Cindy Burke-Seltzer. For this or any other episode of Future First, Focus on Broward's Children, go to our website, www.cscbroward.org, where you can access our YouTube channel, like us on Facebook, and remember to join us next time on Future First, Focus on Broward's Children.